Hello Flosstube, I'm back for another video. My name's Philip, also known as Pipstitch, and this is my fourth Flosstube video. Quite a bit's happened since I last recorded, which was about 6 weeks ago, so I thought there was enough stuff for me to talk about to warrant another video, so here I am. As ever, thank you very much to anybody who has subscribed to me and for all your wonderful messages and comments and likes, particularly regarding Nigel and myself's wedding, which happened in February. They're very much appreciated, and yeah, thank you. So what's happened in the last few weeks? Well, there's been quite a bit of stitching going on, quite a bit of stash buying, which I wasn't supposed to be doing, but anyway, there we go, it's done with. And yes, there we go, so there's quite a bit to get through. Before I start talking about stitching in earnest, I think we'd better talk about the elephant in the room, or the tut in the room. A lot of people expressed an interest in what's going on behind me here. Our little big tut sarcophagus. It's quite strange now. He's been in the room for so long that I almost forget he's there, and particularly when new people come into the room and express shock, surprise, or it kind of takes me back, because he's there all the time. So I thought before we got into anything else, because he'd been such a hit, it would be worthwhile introducing you formally. So if I can work out how to swing this thing round, which I can't. I could do it when it wasn't recording. I'll have to do it this way. So this is Tut. Obviously he isn't real. He isn't a genuine Egyptian sarcophagus. Nigel found him in a local antique store about 16 years ago now, probably, and mentioned it to me. Sorry, my camera works atrocious. It was easy when I could do it the other way around. Mentioned it to me and said, oh, there's a great sarcophagus in an antique shop, thinking I would dismiss it out of hand, and I didn't. I said, oh, that'd be a great thing to have in the house. So we bought him. What we didn't appreciate when we bought him was that while only the front of him had been on display in the shop, he also came with a back, which meant that he was twice as big as we'd expected him to be. I'm so sorry about this camera work. I can't see what I'm filming. So I hope this is coming out, and I hope you can still hear me okay. Just to see the inside, you can see the inside is decorated as well with hieroglyphics. The antique dealer didn't really know a great deal about what this was. Our best guess is that it's either a prop from a film, maybe an old Hammer film from the 60s or 70s, or there was a big Tutankhamun exhibition in the 70s down in London when the mask came over to England for the first time, and it might have been some kind of prop as part of that exhibition. We don't really know, but we love him and we've had him for quite a long time. You can tell that he's not real because this is hosepipe, so it's definitely just a prop, but he's a great thing and he's an interesting talking point. And I hadn't even thought when I started to record last time that he would even be noticed, let alone commented on, to the extent that he was. So he's very grateful. There was talk of starting up a tut tube, but I don't know, he hasn't got a great deal to say, to be honest. He just sits in the corner. So there he is. If you want to know anything else about him, then feel free to ask. I haven't got a great deal else to say, really. He's tut. He's an extra bit of storage space as well. We put things in him, and yeah, he's a good conversation piece. So there we go, that's Tut. I didn't do any shout-outs on my last video. I don't do a huge number of shout-outs generally. Well, I have done. So I thought I'd do a little list of people that I've been watching, really, and by coincidence a lot of these seem to be British. That's nothing intentional, it's just who happens to be on the list of people that I thought I'd say hello and mention. So whipping down, and these are people, if I remember, I'll link them below so that you can go and discover them for yourselves if you don't already know about them. Kerry, EDS Warrior, has also been known as Kitty Stitcher in the past. I think she is EDS Warrior at the moment. She's from the north of England, not so far from where I am here in Cheshire. She suffers dreadfully with her health, but she's always so cheerful and spirited, and her cross stitching is amazing. She's doing the, oh, I don't know what it's called. It's the Heaven and Earth design, which is a black cat looking into a candle flame. It's absolutely beautiful, and she's motoring along with it. So hi Kerry. Stitching Joanne. I think a lot of people know Joanne already. She's great dry sense of humour, and she's very crafty. She doesn't just do cross stitch, she knits as well, and crochets, I think. Do you crochet, Joanne? But she's very witty, she makes me laugh a lot, and again she does great cross stitch work. Bev, Palette PC. I really like Bev's work. Hi Bev. She just does video montages of the work that she's doing, and my goodness, she motors along with stuff. She does so many things and finishes them, and they're all absolutely beautiful. And she's just getting into this, is it diamond painting? It's not something that I have particularly explored, where instead of using thread you use little mosaic tiles. I think it's something that possibly Heaven and Earth Designs are looking to develop into. I don't know. I heard that. Is that true? I don't know. Claire, crafty, creative Claire. Claire, hi. Claire is my Teresa Wentzler kindred spirit. She loves Teresa Wentzler as well, and so do I. And again, she's got a very dry sense of humour, and she's done some fantastic work. She's doing Stitch Mania. Good luck. It's not something I'll be doing. So there's Claire. If you haven't discovered Claire, go and find her. I recently discovered Julia at Julicious. That's J and then 00 Licious. Again, great sense of humour, lovely warm personality, and I'm enjoying going back through her videos and exploring them. Back in the UK, Teresa Little Stitcher, everybody, I think a lot of people will know Teresa. She's great fun, lovely, bubbly, spirited sense of humour, and great cross-stitch work. She just recently finished a Mirabilia. I can't think which one it was, but it looked spectacular. And yeah, I don't know why I've left Stephanie till the last. Well, they're in no particular order, but Ms. Oh So Crafty, if you don't know Stephanie, and I'm sure most people do, whenever Stephanie does a video and she shows out what she's doing, I think it's like she knows my mind in terms of patterns, because we're very similar in our tastes. She's doing the Winnie the Pooh Disney Dreams cross stitch, which I've got. She was showing off her Teresa Wentzler Noah's Ark, which I've got. I'm going to go on to what she has enabled me, naughty Stephanie, to buy when I was being so good and not buying anything. So yeah, go and check Stephanie out as well if you don't already know her. She's great, lovely, lovely warm person. So they're my shout outs, and I'll try and think on to link them at the bottom so that you can go and find them directly, rather than trying to scroll back through this video. On this video, I used the iPad for the first time on my last video. I hope the volume is okay. Do let me know. I had one comment that said I wasn't very loud, and could I sort that out. I'm trying it one more time, trying to talk a little bit louder, and hopefully that I don't have to sort microphones and things out. But if I do, then I will. Just let me know if you can't hear me, if there's any problem with the sound, because I know it's a bit of an issue that not everyone can hear well on these Flosstube videos. Right, okay, what can I show you? I'll show you what I've been working on, and then I'll go on to the stash, and I'll talk as I go along with the other things that I wanted to talk about, really. First off, I started with, so much for being prepared. I spent so long getting all this stuff in order, and I'm still not slick. Here is my old favourites, the Country Mouse and the City Mouse from Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Scott Gustafson. I had finished 2 rows, and I had just started the 3rd row when I made the last video. And I'll be honest, I struggled. I don't know, it was one of those hideous confetti bits, and I really got despondent with it, and I made a bit of an error on a row, and that panicked me, and I didn't know what to do, and I thought I'll try something different on this now to see if I can re-engage with it, and it worked. what I've done, you can see here, haha, is I've gridded, and I'm doing cross country. So where I've always worked down in columns and been very meticulous about doing that and making sure that each column is correct and right, I thought I'll do it one colour at a time, cross country, and see if that does anything. And it's great, I love it. Why have I only just discovered this? So you can see I've used sulky silver, I think that's what it's called. The metallic thread that pulls out very easily to grid. Again, I used Jennifer Apodica's gridding tutorial to remind myself how to do this. It was quite fiddly because this is quite a high count of fabric, but I got it all in there. Where I've gone down to is the bottom. This is the whole page that I'm working on, and then this is the part page that will finish it off on the bottom row. And I picked a colour and stitched all of that colour, and I have to say it's completely transformed my passion for this piece, because confetti now isn't a problem really. There is no confetti at the moment. There will be odd stitches here and there to put in, but if I can have done the bulk of the work, then hopefully the confetti will be less onerous when I get to it. So where's the picture again? So this is where I am on, this is where I am on the picture. You can see down here with the old corn on the cob there, and you can start to see that it's taking shape, which was a great relief when I started to be able to identify bits of the picture. But I am a huge advocate of one colour at a time cross stitching. The way I do it, I have, I can't show you because I'm recording on my iPad, but I have the easy PDF reader for the iPad. I basically pick a symbol and I highlight all of that symbol in one colour, and when I've stitched the stitch, I change the colour to the overall I have done that stitch colour, and then I know it's done with. So I can easily identify what I have to stitch in any particular colour because it's a completely different colour to the finished colour, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Yeah, that's going to make sense, isn't it? So there we go. I got quite a chunk done. It was encouraging as to how quickly this was coming on, and I think this only represents about 4 colours at the moment, 4 or 5 colours maybe. So it's coming on really quite quickly again now. This was the bit up here that was really labouring me down and just making me so despondent and not wanting to work on it. And there is an error in here that I'm going to have to, well, it's not going to be difficult. I'll just have to put an extra row in to compensate for the shortfall in rows. So I think I worked on this pretty steadfastly over the Easter weekend, and I've not really touched it since then. You can't see the whole thing now because it's scrolled up too high, and you've seen it before. If you want to see it, I would point you in the direction of some of my earlier videos to see those. But we're back on track. There's a lot of gridding yet to do. I wanted to get to the end to make sure that my counting was correct. The other thing I haven't mentioned on this piece, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see this. There is this weird stain here. I had the most horrendous weekend, and I learned the hard way that red wine and stitching do not make happy bedfellows. I was drinking red wine and took it off the side table and just knocked it and watched a slug of red wine flip over the glass straight onto my fabric. It was absolutely mortifying. Mercifully, the bulk of it was in an area where I wouldn't be stitching anyway. I think there was only a very, very small area where I'm going to need to stitch on it. And I have to say, I'm amazed at how resilient linen is, because I threw everything at this, starting with white wine and salt and stain remover and carpet stain remover, and you name it, it went on here. And it's not out altogether, but the bulk of it's out, and because it's a full coverage piece, it won't be a problem. It will, the stain won't show. But it was the scariest few hours of my life on that Saturday evening, desperately trying to get the worst of the stain out. So yeah, I'm either much more careful with my red wine now, or I drink white because the stains don't show up so badly with white wine, or gin. Gin's good too. Okay, so that was that. The other thing that you know I've been working on, and I've shown progress a few times, is the Janlin. Oh, look at this. Oh dear, I've got terrible glare. Let me see if I can sort my glare problem out. Bear with me. Oh, that's a bit better, isn't it? It's a little bit better. Anyway, it's the spring sampler from Janlin. I bought the kit. You can buy the pattern. Is it Kool-Aid Designs? Kool-Aid Designs? Might be. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can buy the pattern if you don't want to buy the full kit. I started with the spring sampler because spring is the first season in the year, and I like being methodical like that. I had to just check back on my last video to see where I'd got to on this because I couldn't remember. I know I'd done a little bit more, not a huge amount more, but I couldn't remember what I'd done. So here it is now. So what I had done different is this, oh dear, this daffodil is new here, and a little bit more of the seed packet here is new, and I started over here on the border of the lady here. So that is coming on there. And I also started to fill in a little bit more of this lace work here. There's a bit more work to do on this in terms of Smyrna stitches, which are up here, to replicate further down. So there hasn't been a huge amount of progress on the spring sampler, but it is coming on. And like I've said before, what I like about this piece is that you do something and it feels like you've mini finished something. So when I'd finished this daffodil, because it was complete in and of itself, it felt like a mini achievement. And they're always good to you know, to get, so that you have the enthusiasm for the piece to carry on. There's a lot of work still to do on this, but it's coming on and it's really, really good fun to stitch on. Really bright, colourful, cheerful piece. So, spring sampler. In my last video, I had shown a few things that I was quite keen to start on in the not too distant future. There was a Shakespeare sampler and there was a Mirabilia Archangel, and me being me, they were going to be done, and something else caught my eye, so that all went out the window and I'm doing something completely different instead. Which, if you have seen my Instagram account, or if you follow on Stitchmania, my Instagram account, I meant to say, in case you can't find me on Instagram because my name is slightly different, my name on Instagram is pipstitch1, so it's the same name as this, but it's got a 1 on the end because somebody else has the name Pipstitch and beat me to it. How many pip stitches can there be? Well, there's at least 2, obviously. So I decided, because I was flipping through my Teresa Wentzler folder to find something, and spotted this and thought, oh, that is gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. I had got this off Patterns Online, and it's Teresa Wentzler's 12 Days of Christmas. Bit glary, sorry. Bring that down a bit. There we go, I'll do it this way. And move it up. So there are 12 individual patterns for each of the days of Christmas. Obviously you can do them however you like. You could do them as one huge piece. You could do them as 12 individual pieces. You could do them in a horizontal band. You could do them vertically. Really, the choice is yours on these. They are very small and intricate. The only 2/2 stitching is the borders. Everything else is 1/1, so they're quite fiddly and small, but I have absolutely loved working on this in the last week. By coincidence, there's a lady called Sylvia who on the Teresa Wentzler Facebook group showed a photo of her progress on day number 2. I particularly like day number 2. I love that that fence that the turtle dove is sitting on, but I'm doing them in order because, like, that's me, you know, you do things methodically and you do them in the right order. Bit of a story on this, and a slight gripe on my part. I don't like moaning and griping. There's enough bad stuff going on in the world without you having to listen to me moaning on about my own problems, but it's just a bit of a warning really to people. I bought some 28 count MCG textiles even weave from Hobbycraft, which is our UK equivalent of Hobby Lobby. When I got it out of the packet, I was dubious because when I tried to count it, I could only get to 24 count. But I kind of thought, well, that's me. You know, I'm only an accountant, I can't count, I need a calculator. So I carried on merrily working on the even weave from MCG Textiles. I've unpicked this, in my frustration I've unpicked it, which is stupid of me because I could have shown you what I was talking about rather than just having to narrate it. But this is the even weave that I used from MCG Textiles. And you can't tell now because, as I say, I unpicked it all. It's not even weave. It's not even. It's not even. My square was a rectangle. And it wasn't just a little bit of a rectangle. It was over a centimetre different between the horizontal and the vertical axes. So it was never ever going to be a square. So whatever this stuff is, and it wasn't cheap, it's not even weave, it's not 28 count, and it's not even weave, because you can't do anything that is geometric and get it square on, which I think's pretty disgraceful, really, when, you know, you're paying out for stuff. This was the only even weave that I could easily get hold of on the day. What I've done is, that same day that I found out that this wasn't going to work for me, I bought some more off eBay. I bought some more even weave off a supplier on eBay, and it's 28 count even weave. I could count 28 holes, and I have squares. You might be able to tell that where I'd started this, the lettering is quite wide and spacey on this axis, and it's quite scrunched up on this axis because it's not. Anyway, so enough about that. But it's a bit of a warning. I know Robert, new guy Robert, who is new to Flosstube. Hi Robert. Was complaining about the even weave that he bought from MCG Textiles, and frankly, don't even get me started on the Disney Dreams kit, because I thought my experience with the mini kit that I did of Mickey Mouse was quite unique, but it strikes me that they are ridden with errors in terms of the fabric size, the thread colours, you know, everything that could go wrong conceivably can go wrong with an MCG Textiles kit. Stephanie Mazzoso Crafty had a piece of fabric that was the wrong size, it was too small. And you know, those kits aren't cheap. In the UK they're about £36 on so-and-so at the moment. That is not a small sum of money, and if you have to throw half the stuff away and buy yourself again, then I don't think that's really very good value for money. So yeah, cautionary tale and rant over. Normal service resumed. Where is my pad? There we go. So what I have, and I'm so thrilled with this at the moment, is, ta-da! Day one is nearly done. How close can I come in? I can come in close, look at that. So, like I said, the border is 2/2, conventional cross stitching. Everything else is 1/1. It's very tiny fiddly. I think I'm a bit of a freak because I really like 1/1. I made a comment about how I was disappointed that the Archangel Mirabilia didn't have a 1/1 conversion on the face, and somebody said, you're the first person I've ever known that's complaining about there being no 1/1. But I really love it. It's so delicate, and you know, the finish on this is amazing. The other nice thing for once, with it being Teresa Wentzler, the fact that it's 1/1 means she can't blend the threads. So there isn't all that awfulness of blending threads as you go along, with the exception of the border, which is 2 different coloured threads. Everything else obviously is just a solid colour, which really saves on the time of threading up. Not that I'm complaining about the blended threads, honestly I'm not, because the effects are stunning. So I only started this in earnest last Friday. We are now on the following Saturday, so this is a week and a day's progress, and I'm really quite hopeful that I can get this done by the end of this weekend if I motor on with it tonight and tomorrow. So isn't it super? I really like that. I'm not sure how many I'm going to be able to do in succession, because all of this and the little circle is just a repeat 12 times for each of the 12 days, and I can imagine that that is going to get quite tedious. So it may be that I mix these up and do them every now and again. Perhaps I might do another one straight away, because I particularly like the turtle dove, and see how we go. The other thing I need to do to finish this off is there's a call for some beads in those holly leaves, for the little holly beads, and look what turned up this morning. My little holly berries, which is Mill Hill Petite Glass Beads 42012 in Royal Plum. What a gorgeous colour that is. So, with any luck, this will be finished, by the end of this weekend, and I will post my photos up accordingly on Stitchmania and Instagram. Talking of Stitchmania, kudos to everyone who's doing Stitchmania. I can't do it. I now have 4 whips on the go, and that's making me anxious and clammy. And people that you know, they do 15 starts in 31 days. That is amazing, and I wish I could do it, but I can't. No. So I don't do mania. I'm kind of classing that as my mania start, because I'd got 3 whips on the go, and now I've got 4, so I have added 1. So I'm kind of with you guys in spirit, and I really enjoy watching everybody's progress on Stitchmania, but it's not for me. It's like, I was going to mention about on the City Mouse and the Country Mouse, I did try parking once, not with the City Mouse and the Country Mouse, on another piece. That made me equally anxious and clammy. All those threads, it was horrifying. So I couldn't do that either. So the nice thing with this hobby is, you know, everyone finds their own path and the things that work for them, and it's worth trying everything. I mean, I don't regret having tried parking for a minute. It really wasn't for me. I like the fact that everything's neat and finished. For me, all those threads and people having to sort of bulldog clip them together because there are so many threads, it's so stressful, so stressful. Right, there we go. That's all the whip work that I've done. So I'm quite pleased with all of that. And now I'll whiz through my haul. Right, what have we got? Yes, first off, and Stephanie Mazzoso Crafty, I am looking at you. I am looking at you with a stern face, because you made me spend money. I really don't regret that. She has been showing the magnificent progress on the castle. Teresa Wentzler, again. Kind of have a bit of a thing for Teresa Wentzler. This is the pattern. If you don't know it, it's quite a well-known pattern. I think it's one of Teresa Wentzler's early patterns. I bought this in a kit for a song and a dance. It was about £10, I think. About, what's that, about $14–15. It didn't cost anything at all, so it was worth getting. But it comes on Ada rather than any kind of linen or even weave. And if you know Teresa Wentzler, you know she is the queen of fractionals, and Ada cloth is just going to be awful. So I'd kind of bought it on a whim and wasn't sure about it really. It's an interesting design. I've never been keen on the background, and of course what people are doing is they're switching out the Ada and they're bringing in hand-dyed fabrics that look more sky and sea related. So what I did was having seen Stephanie's progress on this, and please, if you want to see this thing stitched beautifully, go and check her videos out because it looks amazing. And she's doing it on a sort of a dark grey mottled fabric, so it looks very threatening and dark. I have found a fabric which is hopefully, well, it's on order. I hadn't appreciated it was going to take a month to arrive, but hopefully it is on its way at some point, which is more of a pinky, bluey, greeny, grey-y kind of effect, which will hopefully emulate both the sea and the sky. But the thing that really sold this to me is on Stephanie's. She is using the conversion which is available on Patterns Online, which is where a lot of Teresa Wentzler's out of print patterns, I've got a lot of white out on this, there we go, where a lot of Teresa Wentzler patterns are now available for not very much money at all. And to be honest, compared to the old hand-drawn charts, they're much easier to read and much better to follow. And Teresa Wentzler herself has created a conversion, well, not a conversion, an adjustment to the original pattern whereby she is putting a lot of blending filament into the dragon. And it looks amazing. It's so slick looking and scaly and shiny, and even, I mean, blending filament really doesn't show up, I don't think, on camera. You can only appreciate it fully, you know, for real. But on Stephanie's piece, you can see the glitter and the sparkle coming off it. So I thought, wow, that really makes me want to do that piece. So I'd already got the chart and the threads. They're here somewhere, you've seen thread. So I bought, how much blending filament? People, this much blending filament goes into that dragon. Look at it all. I'm not going to go through it all one by one because you can find the codes on the Patterns Online or the Teresa Wentzler website if you're particularly interested to see what these all are. It's just to sort of demonstrate really the range of colours that are required to go into that dragon for the effects. I mean, I was stunned by the amount of blending filament that this was going to take, and oh, how shiny is that going to be? So that was my first stash. So I've got my fabric on the way, which I can't show you because it's not here, and the blending filament for that. And thanks very much, Stephanie. I was doing really well and hadn't bought anything at all. Now I've well and truly fallen off the wagon in terms of purchasing again, but I haven't spent a lot, in all honesty. So I can't really say too much. I bought a couple of kits online. Finally, Teresa Wentzler's Millennium came up at a reasonable price. £12, people. £12. £12 for this baby. It's not my favourite Wentzler design, and obviously it is now kind of trapped in time because it was done for the Millennium, hence the AD 2000 up at the top. But I do love that 1/1 Earth, and it's still quite a striking image. And for £12, it would be rude not to. So it's the kit. It's got all the threads. I've not opened it, so, and I'm not going to open it. Everybody knows what's in a kit. Hurrah! More Teresa Wentzler. Gone a bit mad with Teresa Wentzler. Really, never mind. The oh, I should have got this out because it's going to be so glary. Oh, sorry. A moment. There we go. I had never seen this pattern before, and it suddenly came up on eBay. Isn't that amazing? So that is Sir Galahad, Knight of Stars. Again, it's a kit, which I'm going to have to be very careful with now because I've got it all out. There is the fabric. So it's on a dark blue fabric, and this is it looks like an even weave. Is it an even weave? I think that's an even weave. Well, certainly not Ada anyway, so it's either an even weave or that's an even weave. So you can see that this at the back is all the original fabric colour, but then the rest of it is obviously where it goes lighter is stitched in. There is some metallic thread in here, and I just thought that was really striking, really striking. So there we go. I bought that. I won it in an auction. I can't even remember how much it was. It wasn't a huge amount of money. There it is in its packet. So that's Sir Galahad, to be started at some point, never, maybe, who knows. Just depends if the itch arrives to do that particular piece. The rest of my stash is more Teresa Wensler stuff. In a lifetime, I couldn't do the amount of Teresa Wensler patterns that I have now got. I said in a previous video that I think it's a coping mechanism, that my brain removes the trauma of the castle sampler. It wasn't traumatic really, but it was very, very labour intensive, and as much as anything, that's because of the blended threads. It takes so long to pair up the threads. But I think I've got slicker since I did the castle sampler in the way I organise things, so hopefully, you know, things wouldn't take as long going forward. But I started my little Peacock Majesty, the small one, and thought, yeah, this is going to take forever. It's tiny and it's going to take forever. But I really do like Teresa Wensler's work. It's so sad to hear that this year she has finally conceded defeat. She's suffering, I think, with arthritis and can't continue with her stitching, but she has left an amazing legacy, and I seem to have started collecting it all, just really because it's there to collect. And patterns online is so cheap. To just get the pattern for, what is it, some of them are like $6, $7. It's nothing. Anyway, some of them you can't get on patterns online is the only problem, which is why I've made one of the purchases that I've made. However, this was cheap on eBay, so I picked this up. It's not really me, if I'm being brutally frank, but it was cheap. It was on Buy It Now. I bought it now. So this is her 4 Seasons Fairies. What I'll do is I'll show you the bigger pictures on the inside because they're a little bit more detailed that way. So this is Spring. There she is. Then there is, I bet you can't guess what's coming next, Summer. And they are quite charming, and they're not very big, so they wouldn't take very long to do. Autumn, sitting on an apple. Who wouldn't do that if they could? And Winter, and I think Winter's probably my favourite of all of them. She looks very classy there, although she must be in quite a lot of pain sitting on holly leaves. She's bearing it well. So I think that cost me £10? £10 for the original. I thought £2.50 a chart isn't bad at all. That is cheaper than I could get it on Patterns Online, because I think they are about $5 each. Anyway, so I bought that, and then I bought this. This was a little bit more expensive. This is the Teresa Wensler Christmas collection. Now the reason I bought this is when I looked to see what patterns were in here, none of these, or virtually none of these, are yet available on Patterns Online. Of any of the patterns and charts that she's done, it seems to be that these ones are the least represented on Patterns Online. This one particularly, the Angel Procession, is very sought after because it's gorgeous. So I'll whip through these just so you can see what's in here if you had a mind to buy it. You've seen the Angel Procession on the front cover. I'm going to stand up for this. Then there is an Angel Gabriel, only available in this book. A rather unusual nativity scene, again only available in this book. There is, what's that called? Angel of Frost. which is an unusually vibrant piece for Teresa Wentzler. She says herself that she doesn't use red very often because it's such a controlling colour. So it's quite nice to have something with a bit of red in it. The companions, it's quite an unusual Santa and horse. I hope to goodness this works because my iPad video maker has just cut off at 40 minutes. That's a revelation I wasn't aware of, so I'm hoping desperately I can stitch this bit onto the end, otherwise I'm going to have to do the whole thing all over again. So briefly, and to continue where I left off, this is a Father Winter sampler. I'm not overly sure about this one. He's got a bit of a weird face. But anyway, there we go. There are some Byzantine ornaments. Very nice. Very sparkly. And a Christmas wreath, which is also very nice, and a winter carousel horse. Now, of the carousel horses, Winter is the only one which isn't available on Patterns Online. Call me a cynic, but I think there's a link there. And then there is a repeat of the Winter Fairy that I'd already bought separately. So that's my stash. Look at that. I was so close to finishing. I really, really hope that I can just bolt this on at the end, otherwise I'm going to have to do the whole thing again. So, once again, thank you very much to everybody who is so supportive in this marvellous community that we have on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you very much again for all your warmth and your likes and subscriptions. And I'll keep on stitching, as I hope you do, and I'll hope to see you again very soon for another update. Have a great weekend, and bye for now.